Hi guys, welcome to this session in Microsoft Access. In this module, I want to show you how to do some basic queries. So first of all, let's have a look at the tables we have. So in the navigation pane, we've got three tables: books, there's only 3 books in there, and customers, there's all our customers, and then a table for sales, which just basically lists the customer and what books they've bought. So what I want to do is do a query on the customers table and basically get a query to return records for people that live in Leeds or Bradford or both. So let's close that down and close that down. Now to create a query, you click on the Create tab and you've got two options. You can use the wizard or you can do it yourself. So in this video I'm going to use this option so we do it ourselves. So you click on Create Query. I'll just get rid of these extra panes. You've got Add Tables there, but I'm just going to drag the table from this left-hand navigation pane and drop it into this area anyhow. And you can expand that if there's extra fields in there, but that's okay. Now, to bring all these fields down into this area, which is called the Query by Example grid, you can basically just double click them down one at a time, which is a bit time consuming, which I'm not going to do, so I'll just delete those two off. Or if you double click at the top on the title, double click, the whole thing goes pink in this case, and you can drag and drop them down as a group and they just cascade across. Now if I just undo that for a second, or delete these should I say, the other way you can do it is if you click on the asterisk symbol. If I double click that, that brings them all down, but you don't see them all cascading across. And what would happen there is if you wanted to do a criteria, so if I run this query at the moment, that'll just show me exactly the same information as the table. Just go back into design. What you would do in this case is you'd bring the field down, so I'll just double click on city, and then you would do the criteria. So the criteria row is where you put the information. So if I wanted to look for Leeds, for example, I would put it on that row. Click underneath, you can see it comes up with these little quotes, which means it recognizes that as a text field. And if I run that, it's going to show you all the Leeds records, but it gives you this extra field at the end, which you don't really want. So back into design, you just take that tick off there. So it's going to use that criteria to filter these records. So when I run it this time, you just get the records for Leeds, but not that extra column showing. So we'll go back into design and get rid of both of these because I don't want to do it like this. That's what I would do if you've got lots of columns and you're only interrogating 1 or 2 columns in a query. I would do that. It's a tidy way of doing it, but let's do it this way. So I'm going to double click at the top so it's all pink, and then drag and drop, and then go underneath the city field and do exactly the same. So the difference is you see everything in the query by example grid as opposed to waiting till you've run it. So if I run that, it does the same thing, and then you would save this query, save, and the prefix for a query is QRY, and then I'm just going to go Leeds. But what I normally would do is type TBL table customers and then Leeds. So that tells you by the name that it's looking at the table customers and filtering for Leeds. Okay, and then it just pops up in the queries area there. So I'll close that one and do another one. So create query again, query design, bring the same table across, double click at the top, drop all the records in. This time I want it to show me everybody that lives in Leeds, so the same thing, or underneath Bradford. Click underneath that, you get the 2 little quotes, then run that query, so you get Leeds or Bradford in this case. So that's what you want to look for. I'm not going to save this query, I'm just going to go back into design and remove these 2 criteria lines like so. Get rid of them. Now looking at the columns that we've got in this query, there is no date column that I can search on, but I want to just add a date column. So date of this customer been added to this database. So if I close this query down, I don't save it, no. Go back to customers and go into design on customers, and then just put date joined, if that's a correct term, and then it's going to be a date field, date time field, and then I'll just save that. And then when you have a look at this, you'll notice that the column's blank. Now if I just put some dates in here, so if I'll put the first of the first 20, and then 21st of the first 20, and then 19th of the first 19, like so. So I've got some dates coming down, so I've done a time there, I don't know what happened there. / is what you need if you're going to type it in. So really what I would do in this field is create an input mask so that you would only be able to type dates in that format, so nobody could do accidentally what I just did there. And let's do another 19, so we'll go the 21st of the 5th 19. So we've got 2 dates in 2019 and 2 dates in 2020. Now if I close that and then go back to create query design, add my table, double click and bring them all down, and then go under the date column, and I want only dates after the 1st of January 2020. So what you do here is you go greater than 1st of the 1st 20, and when you click underneath that, you won't get the quote symbol, you'll get a little hash symbol, which means that the Access recognizes that as a date field. If you got quotes there, that would be a problem, because it would be seen as a text field, and then you wouldn't be able to use the date functions. But that's okay, it's got the correct things. So when I run this, I should see one record, because the other one was the 1st of January 2020. So what I need to do here is go back down to there and then put an equal sign after that greater than or equals to, and then I get the one that was on the 1st of January. So just watch out for that you don't put the wrong symbol in, and you need to do this with some test data till you get the right answer. Now if I go back into design on this, and let's delete that, you can also use a wildcard. So I could put the asterisk symbol in there, which is the wildcard symbol, and put 20, and when I click underneath that one, it puts the word like in, and let's see what it does. Still does the same information, because the wildcard, the asterisk, means anything in front of the 20, so it's just brought those two in there. And if I change that to, let's just get rid of all this, the asterisk and 19, it will bring the other two in. Just click underneath that, like so, and now it's bringing the 2019 dates in. So you can either save these as queries if you think you want that sort of information, so you want everything, so you can do a report maybe on 2019's customers joining, or if it was sales, 2019 sales or 2018 sales. These are perhaps the sort of queries you might want to use. Now if I just get rid of that, delete that one. Now this is just a quick video on basic queries. There are lots, when you go into design and query, there are lots of different queries, and I've done lots of different videos on these queries, so you can see examples of them all. But this is just getting started, where you're creating a query, and a query is something that you would want all the time. So if you don't want to see the city's leads all the time, you would just do a filter in the table for leads, and that's how it works. If I just close this down, I'll show you what I mean there. If I get off that and then just open up the table, so if I just want to see leads on the table, you've got, similar to Excel, these filter options, and that gives me that information. That's just a one-off. Somebody's asked me that question and I want to see that. You've got this toggle filter, but it's still there. I'm toggling on and off. To get rid of that filter, I need to drop it down and tick everything, or go to the advanced tab and clear all filters, make sure there's no filters on. Now, I always teach this: if it's a one-off, you go to the filter. If it's something that you're going to need every month or every week, you create a query for it, and then any changes would be updated. So for example, there's the query that we did for leads. If I open it, there are 7 records. And let's just close that. Let's change this one to leads, so it's no longer Bradford, and then run the query. Now there's 8, so it's a live update, so it always updates. So if you add new customers in, the query will always pick that up. And then to step it forward one more step, if I close this off, not saving the changes to the layout, you would create a report on that. So I'll just do a wizard-based report. I'll just do this one actually. I'll just create a report based on leads, and there's 8 records. There's leads. Now if I save this report, if I just close this down, yeah, I'll just put RPT in front of that for report that's looking at that query, that's looking at that table and filtering leads. Now the way Access would work is you get a new customer, you fill it in probably through the form. So remember, we've got a form here to fill in the customer, but I'm just going to do it on the table. So let's just go Mr. Graham and 1 Red Road, or Red Street because I've got Red Road, leads. So this will be picked up as a new entry for leads. I won't bother with the postcode. So now we've got an extra person. So I don't need to run the query to pull this through because the report is looking at that query. The report's looking at that query. So if I open this report, I will get that extra person, Mr. Graham, because he lives in Leeds. So that's how Access works. You create the queries to analyze the data or pull the data through, and then you run reports on that data. So the input part of it would be, you've got a form, you input a new customer, they appear in the table, and then you run the report and it sucks them through, and this is the output. That's how Access works. Quite simple really. Alright, that's all I want to talk about on this little video, so hopefully that was of use to you, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you for your time.